Hi, it's Carol Clark here, and I want to welcome you back to another episode of Build the Weight Loss Practice of Your Dreams. We keep these short and actionable, and I hope you're enjoying them. If you do, make sure that you've subscribed. I would love that. And today we're continuing our Freedom series. So we are on to part 3 already. And I hope that you've been able to implement some of this in your practice, whether you're the administrator, the office manager, a team member, no matter what you're doing there, a clinician, the physician. I hope these are helpful for you. And today we're moving on. We've already talked about your vision for your practice. We talked a bit about having a plan or a blueprint for larger projects, and then having a plan anytime you have frustrations in your office. And then we also talked a bit about your level of involvement and various ways to do that without taking away your freedom and actually creating peace of mind, which adds freedom to your personal life. So now we're moving on today to 2 other topics. So the next 2 strategies kind of go hand in hand, but they are different. The first one is trust, and the second one is transparency. So maybe I'm showing my age a little bit, but this is really important to me in any relationship, and it has been throughout the years. When I was a hospital administrator, a manager of any unit in the hospital, when I've managed any practices, trust and transparency are really important to me. And I've found that I really don't have a lot of tolerance or time for games or other behaviors. So I just set that from the beginning that that's the expectation, and oftentimes that's what you can nurture. So if you help nurture that, it actually creates a sense of calm and less drama, which brings you freedom, so much freedom. So let's talk a little bit about that, because trust is very important in any relationship, as you know. So trust, and then also, of course, communication is how we help to build that. But that's important at home, with your children, with your parents, with your friends, with your spouse, with your significant other. It's important at the office, with your colleagues, in the hospital, with anyone that you're working with, anyone that reports to you, anyone that you report to, and anyone really that you're working with in any capacity. So it's important for all of those relationships, and really super important, of course, for your patients. They have to trust that you are taking the best care of them, and that you have their best interest in mind, and that you're listening to them, and that you are helping them on their journey towards better health. So I sound like I'm on a soapbox, but it is so important, and it can really create really some peace of mind in your personal life, like I say, and especially in your professional life. And trust is one of those things, like I say, that you really need to have from your team. It also is your reputation. So you want to make sure that you have that buckled down. And the other thing is the transparency. And transparency is just really being straightforward, open, and honest about whatever's happening, whatever the situation is. People tend to appreciate that. I know I work with a lot of different groups and practices, and everybody operates a little bit differently. I have to say, in our practice, we've always been very transparent about many things. We're transparent about the process for when you're coming through, when you're going to be having surgery. We're very straightforward about any expenses that are going to be there. People appreciate knowing that up front. We're very transparent about our prices. We keep that right out there in the open. When we do webinars on our website, all that sort of thing is right there readily available, because we like to be transparent. People just tend to appreciate that. And you may say, well, then you're going to get kind of taken advantage of and that sort of thing. And there are instances where you're going to meet people who are not trustworthy and who are not transparent, and you may end up getting into a situation that is very unpleasant. We've all had those. I've seen many practices go through that. We've, experienced that somewhat ourselves, and it just teaches you really in your next relationship to make sure that you are extra careful about that. So that's how you avoid some of those terrible situations, and getting people in your practice who are not trustworthy or are not transparent. And they learn a lot of that too from your example. So for all of us, we want to make sure that we are demonstrating that. So we talked about vision. We talked about your plan. We talked about your level of involvement. Today, like I say, is about something that is maybe people may think of it a little bit superfluous, but it is not. Trust and transparency can actually bring you peace of mind and just really a great sense of freedom, because you can trust those you're working with. You can just be open and honest. And I think we all really discovered this last year during the pandemic. when that happened, your team, I know my team, it was scary for everybody, myself included, you probably included. We all were like, what is happening? We can't do surgeries for how many months? We can't see patients until we have these certain things in place. What am I going to do? So being very transparent with your team and your patients throughout that process served all of us extremely well, because when you're transparent and you just tell people whether you know the answer or you don't know the answer, and you just kind of work through that together, they know that you're working through it. They gain confidence and they appreciate the fact that you're being open and honest about it. So no matter what's going on, that is really important. You will find that you will have a team that sticks around and that really is very loyal to you, and who is wonderful to work with if you demonstrate trust and transparency and expect the same of your team members. I live it firsthand. I love the people I get to work with. I love all the practices that I work with. And I don't work with a huge number. I like to make sure that it's a really great relationship. And so there's some that I might not work with if that's not part of their, what they value. So it is really important to keep that in mind. Once again, I might be showing a little bit of my age because I don't have a lot of tolerance anymore for people who are playing games or are not trustworthy and not transparent. So I just like to be open and honest about that. And I encourage you to do the same. And a lot of times you can see how it can turn relationships around. It can actually really impact some of your team members. It can help them in their personal lives. There's just so many results that come from that. So I hope this is helpful. I don't want to ramble on anymore about that. I want this to be impactful, but really focus on these things and you will find really a true sense of freedom. And that is what you deserve in your practice. You've worked so hard for that. And it trickles down into every aspect of what it is that you do, all the way down to your most important asset, which are your patients. So I hope you find this helpful. And if you have any questions, reach out to me, Carol, Karol, at weightlosspracticebuilder.com. If you want to just have a chat, we can do an opportunity audit together. If you're not a member of Bariatric Business Boss, hop on over there, bariatricbusinessboss.com, and check it out. In the meantime, have a great day.